Good morning. I'm Bob Weir with another interview of candidates running for office in Denton County. My guest today is Dr. Terry Senne, running for place 6 on the Denton Independent School District Board of Trustees. Thanks for being here, Terry.
Thank you, Bob, for inviting me.
Since your bio is on the written portion, I'll proceed with the questions. Now, if elected, what would you bring to the DISD board?
Well, I think when you're running as a candidate for a school board, you don't know it all. You know certain areas better than others, and hopefully the people that get put on the board complement one another. I have a lot of knowledge in terms of policy analysis. My PhD is educational research and policy analysis, and I've done a lot of work in the schools, been a professional for 40 years in the schools, and I bring to it knowledge on how to write curriculum, how to redesign curriculum. My big key stellar piece would be on doing assessment and having measurable outcomes that are meaningful and that measure actually what you're trying to get at with your students. So I look at end products. What should they be able to do at the end of the course or at the end of the program?
Is there a standard curriculum of instruction for teachers to use, such as a syllabus or course outline?
They are given the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, which are called the TEKS. That's their guideline. Usually they have some independence, at least on the local level, in terms of what they pull together in order to accomplish those TEKS. And so I would say they have pretty good reign with what they're going to do as long as they stay within the parameters of the TEKS.
Yeah, so there are subjects that we all remember when we had to school. I mean, we want math and history and science and English and all this. So those are the standard kind of subjects, right?
Correct.
Do you think that parents have the right to decide what their kids are taught?
I think it's particularly important nowadays for parents to know what those instructional materials are, to be able to preview those materials, and to have say-so on content. We've got content coming in that's more social, emotional. Our students are able to read books that some have pornography in it. They're all things that I think are under the parents' jurisdiction, and I think parents have the right to know what's going on and to choose to either consent or not consent to those materials. There are some legislative bills that are out there that are trying to get a handle on that, but I really feel we've gone from a core academic curriculum to all this other stuff over here. I've heard it, and it's hearsay, but I've heard it from several others. They get to teach the subject, academic areas, math, science, English, so forth and so on, about 40% of the day, and the other 60% is in all these other things, particularly gets into social and emotional learning per se. And so I'm concerned about that because the board's primary job is to achieve academic excellence. And what I've seen in performance are the scores are going down. They're not getting better. Yes, you have your stellar students, you have your standouts, that will always be that way. But I'm fearful that there's not enough time being spent on academic subjects. They're not being assessed in such a way to improve student learning over time.
So it sounds like there is some amount of social engineering being insinuated into the curriculum. And that's what parents have to be aware of. Now, I think more and more parents are becoming aware of that.
Yes.
There's something creeping into the education system. So then I would ask you then, do you think critical race theory should be taught in schools?
I definitely oppose critical race theory to be taught in the schools. It is a theory that divides different ethnic groups often. Sometimes it's black and white, sometimes it's other denominations, sometimes they try to use gender identity in doing this. Critical race theory isolates, it doesn't unify, and it has no business in the schools. Now the state says it isn't taught and that their teachers are not allowed to teach that. But it comes out in curriculum materials that teachers choose to use. It comes out in other instructional materials. And so it's in there, it's embedded, and they're doing it kind of as a hidden curriculum underneath the guise of we're following the rules. And so I'm very
So then
concerned.
that would mean that some teachers are bringing their political beliefs into the school system and trying to teach them to the children. That's the type of social
That's
engineering
exactly
we're talking
happening,
about.
and you shouldn't be made guilty, or shouldn't be made guilty because you are a Caucasian child born in a family, and nobody knows what that situation is. You have no say-so over what your race and your gender is. You know, and I believe in biological, biblical, we have one gender, two genders, male and female, that God created, and that's what we have. So I hate to see it used against students, and they'll say, you're oppressing this other group over here.
Yeah.
And you should feel guilty about that, and you should do something about that. And that gets into kind of that white rage or white guilt
Yeah.
that can occur.
And that's why parents have to be concerned and have to be involved, because even though there's a standard procedure for teaching, we see that there are more and more politics being injected into this, and personal philosophy. Let's go on to, by the way, do you have children in the DISD schools?
I don't have any children in DISD schools, however, I've supervised student teachers and taught methods classes in DISD schools when I was an associate professor in kinesiology here, and 2 other university positions that I held. I do have a grandson who is 17, and he's a junior in another Texas high school, and then I have a grandson, hopefully that will arrive today, and in 5 years he will be in a different school system.
Where does the board meet, the Denton Independent Board?
I believe the address is 1307 Locust in Denton, and it's in their meeting room for their open meetings that they have there. They're usually twice a month. Their website says they're on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of the month, and most of the time they keep to that schedule. Every once in a while that doesn't occur. This March, the only board meeting there was this past week on I'm moving ahead, on March 28th.
By the way, is this the first time you've run for office?
Yes, it is. I am a newbie at this. I just couldn't sit and tolerate what was going on in the schools anymore. Even though my kids were raised and they came through fairly good school systems, I can't watch these kids grow up this way. And I just think there's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of silence on the part of students. I've noticed that in the college and university level as well, where their best chance is just keep your mouth shut, get through the course, and move along. And I think it frustrates teachers as well.
Yeah. Well, but thank you for stepping up and getting involved. That's important. More people should be doing that. All right, we're being grabbed by the clock, so is there anything you'd like to add before we close?
I would like to add that at this past school board meeting, I drew a line in the sand and said I am totally opposed to a medical clinic for children. on the campus and in satellite. I just don't think that's the school board's business. I think they should be in the business of promoting academic excellence, and that's where they need to focus. The other part is up to the families, and those are their responsibilities. There are plenty of organizations and resources out there that can reach out and extend help to them. And again, I'm running for office, first time, have a lot I can offer. Do I know a lot about everything? No, but I've been in the schools for over 40 years, so I do have that.
Well, that gives you a lot of
going.
experience for sure.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you for being here on an overcast day like this. You know, it looks like we have a lot of rain on the way. So
Yes.
thank you, Dr. Senne, and good luck in the election.
And I appreciate you, Bob. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
inviting
and
me.
thank you for watching.